Hello, hello. It sounds like I'm going live. Listen, I am trying to do this on two different platforms. So, YouTube, it looks like I'm live. It looks like you can hear me and see me and all of that jazz. So, I'm going to go ahead and get my Facebook folks up here too. Looks like you guys can see me. We're going to talk to some DIY brides today. I've been getting a lot of I've been getting a lot of questions about DIY, and I've been talking to some brides that are stressed out. So I just want to do a little snippet today, some education. But I'm going to go ahead and go live on Facebook as well. Hopefully they can hear me as well. All right, all right. Hey, Facebook family. Hey, hey, it's Friday. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Listen, I'm on two different platforms. I'm trying to diversify, if you will. But today we're just going to talk about some tips and strategies for my DIY brides. I have been getting a lot of inquiries for brides who are planning their own weddings. And a lot of them are a little bit stressed out, right? I am a wedding planner, wedding coach. And so I get it, right? But it's what I signed up to do is to plan weddings and events and things like that. So it's a lot of moving parts. And if you're not familiar with it, then it can be overwhelming. So I tell people all the time that if you've not had a wedding before, you don't know how to plan a wedding, right? And so what I want to do today is just to do a little bit of education for my brides that are planning their own weddings. I want to talk to you about how to plan your wedding without losing your mind. Okay, how to plan your event. I don't know if it's a birthday party, anything that has different moving parts, any event that you're planning. For weddings, you don't get a do-over, right? You don't get to do it over. And so I want to talk to you about it's yes, DIY is possible, right? Now I'm going to give you some tips, some strategies, some things to kind of look for. I also have a DIY planning guide as well as a checklist. So for those of you who are doing this on your own, you can, have a guideline. But I hopefully today in the next 30 minutes, this information will help you. How to plan your wedding without burnout, without breaking your budget, and without breaking down, right? Breaking totally down. So welcome. If you're a bride, hey, welcome, welcome. If you're planning your own wedding and you're somewhere between excited and exhausted, it just depends on where you are in the process. You're exactly where you need to be. This is for you. This is a little different vein than what you guys are used to. But I definitely want to give some value today. So we're going behind the veil of DIY wedding planning. Some things that people don't tell you, right? So Pinterest, that pretty Pinterest board. When you're thinking about, I'll just do it myself and save some money plan. I've got this, that confidence. We're going to talk about what really happens behind the scenes. Okay. Just a little bit about who I am. Those of you who don't know me, I'm the owner and founder of Behind the Veil Events. Also, Behind the Veil Professional Intensive Pros. I do coaching with event pros to help them 10x their businesses and make sure that they are profiting from their business. Okay. I'm a bridal coach. I plan. I'm a budgeting expert. I know how to get you within your budget, negotiate with vendors, all that behind the scenes stuff. That's where I thrive. And that's what I'm doing today. So I have my little cup here, wedding lesson. This is where we are right now. We're going to do a lesson. All right. So let's talk about what really happens behind the scenes. So today in these few minutes, I'm going to show you 5 hidden stress triggers that all DIY brides have, and they don't see it coming, and it just takes them by surprise. It throws them off their game, right? So we're going to talk about that, talk about how you can protect your budget and your peace during this planning process. All right. And how to plan without losing your mind or your joy. This should be a joyous occasion. Okay. It shouldn't be stressful for you. So we're going to talk about that, some practical stress relief processes as well. All right. So let's talk. Let's talk. Let's get to it. All right. The truth about DIY. Okay. First of all, it doesn't mean do it alone. Okay. DIY doesn't mean do it alone. Let's be honest. It sounds empowering, right? I can do this DIY. And sometimes it is. Okay. But what most brides don't realize is this. When you DIY, you're not just the bride. Okay. You're the planner, you're the designer, you're the negotiator, you're the accountant, you're the coordinator, you're the therapist, all of that. Right. So you don't just get to be a bride when you are doing it yourself. Okay. And no one has prepared you for that. That's an emotional weight. That's why I get a lot of brides that started out DIY that are coming to me going, I need help. Right. And sometimes it's the last hour. Right. And so I want to give you some tips and strategies that if you truly want to be a DIY bride, right? You want to make your own centerpieces. You want to bake your own cake. I've seen people do that. I've seen brides that have catered their own wedding, and they don't get to enjoy being a bride. They don't get to enjoy that because they're worried about all the other stuff, right? I'm always going to point you toward a planner or even a day of production coordinator. Even if you don't want to do that, you have family members that are going to do that today, which my thing is your family members want to enjoy the day as well, unless you have a best friend that's a planner and they want to do it. But you want to be able to enjoy the day. You don't want to be having to worry about, the little things. Okay. So here's a truth, behind the veil truth. Most DIY brides aren't stressed because they can't plan, right? Most of them are stressed because they're carrying too much alone. They're trying to do too much by themselves. And so we're talking about, why does it feel overwhelming? Why can it feel overwhelming? Okay. When to ask for help. I'm going to give you some practical steps as well to alleviate some of that stress for you, because that's what it's all about, right? Alleviating that stress. Okay. So let's talk about some unrealistic, or these 5 hidden stress triggers. And these are the ones that I see over and over and over again with DIY brides, or even brides that are, they have maybe a partial planner or a full planner. Number 1, unrealistic Pinterest expectations. Okay. Pinterest is inspiration. It's not a budget plan. The stuff that you see on Pinterest, you see, a floral that you see and they pin this floral and it's beautiful, right? Behind the scenes, it's $20,000. Okay. And it needed a team of 12 people to set it up. Okay. So they don't show you all that. So when you are on Pinterest, you want to make sure that you are being realistic. Okay. This is why some people get overwhelmed, and Pinterest can overwhelm you. There's so many bright and shinies over here. And then, I like this one and I like this one. We'll talk about that. But Pinterest will get you in a trick bag, as old people used to say, right? So comparison steals your joy. Okay, because you have so many things to compare to. Now, here's some practical teaching. I'm not saying don't go on Pinterest. I'm saying go on Pinterest, get some inspiration, right? But choose one inspiration per category. Don't have 25 floral arrangements. You're going to get overwhelmed, right? And then you're going to get stressed. Okay. We always want to choose our venue, find the venue first, right? Make sure they have your date and they have your vibe. Match the vision to the venue, okay? You don't want to have, if it's outside, I mean, having, these big elaborate 20-foot tall arches, if you're going to be outside for the ceremony, make sure it's matching the venue, okay? And focus on guest experience over perfection, okay? Guest experience, right? They're going to come in, they're going to ooh and ah, and they're going to, be able to see everything, but they're going to forget it. They just, they want to have a good time. So focus on your guest experience and don't get all into this perfection, okay? No one attends your wedding comparing it to Pinterest. They don't. They are coming to celebrate you. That's why they are there. Okay. So on Pinterest, use it as inspiration. Okay. But limit yourself. Okay. Choose one inspiration photo per category. All right. The next thing, number two, this is why we get anxiety as DIY brides. Budget anxiety. Okay. Here's what brides don't know. Okay. Until they start to research. I've had a lot of brides come back to me and go, "Hey, this is my budget. I want this for $5,000." They don't understand or know how much weddings cost, how much venues cost, right? So here's what they don't know. Venue and catering, that's the big chunk of your budget. It can take up like 40 to 50% of your total budget. Okay. So if you have a $10,000 budget, your venue and your catering can eat that right on up, right? Because typically venues are $6,000 to $7,000, right? Unless you're getting married in a public park or in your grandma's backyard, right? Catering up to 40%. You're trying to feed you want a plated dinner and you want filet mignon and lobster tails and all that. Listen, it's going to eat up your budget. They don't tell you about the hidden costs, right? The service fees, the taxes. They got to deliver. They got to set up, right? Gratuities. These are some things that you want to ask those questions, right? Setup fees, breakdown fees. Now they may, you may see a price and go, "Oh, this sounds good." But once they start adding on, you got to have 5 servers. You got to have 2 bus boys. You got all this stuff, right? And that's why having someone who's coaching you through this, right? If you can't afford or you don't think you can afford a full planner, get a coach. Get someone who will coach you through, look at those contracts and make sure that you don't have budget anxiety, because it happens, okay? Most of the time, brides are not overspending because they're irresponsible. They overspend because they don't know what questions to ask. They didn't build a buffer, okay? One master spreadsheet, okay? I have in my guide, there's a spreadsheet for you to plug in your numbers so you can see exactly where you are. For my brides, when I'm doing the full planning, every time they make a payment, I update that spreadsheet, send it to them so they know exactly where they are, how much they paid, how much the balance is, everything, okay? And we always put a 10% emergency cushion in there, right? So we add that. Weekly review. And if you're DIY, don't make it a daily obsession, right? Like I said, once my brides, if they make a payment or I get in touch with the vendor, I update that and I send it to them once a week, okay? When you are DIY, don't get obsessed with it. Look at it once a week, all right? And just think about this. Everything you add requires a subtract from your budget, right? So you may, again, number one, be on Pinterest and you say, "Oh, I want this. I want, fireworks." And that's a subtract from your budget. Okay. So just think about that. Okay. I tell brides as well, when you are planning your vision, don't get overwhelmed, right? We'll talk about some stress relief strategies here in just a minute. All right. Number 3, another stressor. Oh, Lord. This one, I see this one every single time. Trying to please everyone. Okay. Now, listen, you're not planning a family reunion. Just saying. This is your wedding. Okay. I've heard so many brides like, oh, this side of the family, my family, I'm just gonna just go to the courthouse. I'm just gonna elope. And they're giving up because of stressors and stress. They're giving up their special day. Okay. You're not planning a family reunion. Okay. The guest list is where stress explodes. Okay. Because everybody wants to have their input. You are not trying to please everybody. Okay. I tell my brides all the time, my couples, I tell them it's three people who are absolutely essential for your big day. That's you, your spouse, and the preacher. Everybody else is there for decoration. Just saying. Okay. Those three people are there. That's all that matters, right? So decide with your fiance first. Okay. So y'all got to listen, I tell people get three non negotiables. What do you have to absolutely have? Okay. Three balls in the pocket. Because when you're juggling, if you're trying to juggle more than three, something's going to get dropped. Okay. You guys have got to be on a united front. More times than not, a lot of my grooms, whatever she wants, right? Whoops, sorry. Whatever she wants. Okay, I'm good. I'm just gonna write the check or whatever. But it's your big day as well. So you want to present those united decisions. Okay. We've decided what works best for us. And this is gonna help my bride not to become a bridezilla. I don't think anyone sets out to be a bridezilla. It's just that stress gets to them. Okay. So decide together, present a united front, and say, hey, this is what works best for us. Gratitude does not require surrendering your vision. I had a lot of folks, and this is why brides, you don't want to take 50 people with you to pick out your dress, because everybody gonna have an opinion. Okay. But you're the one that's got to wear it, right? It's your vision. So if mom and dad are paying for the dress, okay, maybe you want them to have some input, but again, mom and dad ain't wearing the dress, right? So gratitude does not require you just giving up on what you want. Just saying. All right. Your coach can help you have those conversations, because some of those are hard conversations. And here's the thing too. Your wedding party is not just there to be looking pretty and fly on that day. They have specific job duties as a maid of honor, as a bridesmaid, as a groomsman, as a best man. And that's to take some of the pressure off of you guys so you can enjoy your day. All right. Number 4, vendor confusion. Two quotes can look the same and be totally different. One caterer may not add in dinnerware and stemware, and the other one does, right? And so when you're looking for vendors, DIY brides, hear me. When you're looking for vendors, 3. If you have 20 that you like, then drill it down. Drill it down to 3. No more than 3 vendors. Okay. Otherwise, you're gonna get decision fatigue. Okay. Ask them what's not included. And again, in my ebook and my checklist, it gives you questions to ask each vendor. What do I need to ask the photographer? What do I need to ask the caterer, the DJ, all of that? I've been doing this for 25 years. So I have a list of questions that you need to ask them so that you walk away with clarification. Okay. Read the contracts fully. Some of that jargon gets a little, over our heads a little bit. Again, that's where your planner or your coach comes in. Again, I know we're talking about DIY, but you got to have someone who knows the business and knows the lingo to look over your contracts. A lot of wedding planners have a flat fee to help you, to coach you. All right. So it's not, if you can't, you say, I can't afford the full planner, or I don't want a full planner, but I do want somebody to make sure that I'm not confused with the vendors. Okay. Clarify your cancellation terms. I see a lot of brides do this. They don't clarify the cancellation terms. They pay their deposit, or they pay, and then they don't want to go with that person, and you're not getting your money back. Okay. So look at those clarify those cancellation terms. Confidence replaces anxiety when you understand the details. Okay. All that anxiety goes away when you know what's going on. right? And again, as I said before, you do not get a do-over on this day. Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5, doing everything alone. This is where it gets very, very emotional. Okay. If you feel like you're carrying the whole wedding on your shoulders, you probably are. Okay. I've seen couples be at odds because the groom is like, just whatever, whatever, and is not giving the input. And the bride is like, listen, I need your help with this, right? And they're at odds. So if you feel like you're carrying the whole weight, you probably are. Assign a day of point person, or get an actual coordinator for the day of. If you're not going to do that, get someone who's the point person. You don't want the vendors coming up to you while you're getting your makeup done, talking about, we don't have a tablecloth, or we don't have, enough chafers, whatever, right? You don't want the cake lady going, I'm not, setting the cake up, I'm just bringing it. Stuff like that. Have someone who's your point person. Delegate the setup. You don't want to be, as a bride, out there trying to put centerpieces together. Okay. Do your centerpieces and have them set up and they're boxed up so that whoever that setup person is, that they got tablecloth, centerpiece, it's like a well-oiled machine, and it can happen DIY. Share with your point person the vendor contact sheet. So if they're not there on time, I know who to call. I'm not going to run up to you while you're getting your hair and makeup done, asking, okay, because that's going to create anxiety the day of, right? So you're not doing everything alone. You want to delegate. And this is something too that I tell my couples. If you're doing a DIY and you and your spouse are, planning this thing, schedule some nights that we don't talk about the wedding. Maybe we go out to eat, but we don't talk about the wedding. You have to have some no wedding talk nights. Okay. Practical. Make sure that you have, and you also want to have some hours that you are planning. If you're working a 9 to 5, you want to have specific days. I call them wedding work hours. I have them as a planner. Okay. My office hours are from 9 to 5, whatever. Right. But you have this time frame that you're talking about wedding, or you're planning the wedding, or you're making calls and doing all that stuff. Remember, DIY does not mean doing it alone. Okay. So I'm going to give you a blueprint. We talked about the 5 stressors, right? We talked about the first one, right, is that unrealistic Pinterest. Pinterest is the devil, Bobby Boucher, right? Or it can be, right? Those unrealistic Pinterest expectations. All right. Number 2, budget anxiety. Okay. Make sure that you are understanding your budget and trying to stay within your budget. Number 3, trying to please everybody. Again, you're not planning a family reunion. Okay. Vendor confusion. Make sure you're only looking at 3 vendors at a time and you're weeding those out. Okay. And number 5, doing everything alone, getting a point person, delegating the day of, set up, all of that jazz. Okay. So here's how we're going to relieve your stress. Here's the blueprint. Now we're going to shift from stressing to empowerment. Okay. You don't want to just identify the stress. That's not what we do here at Behind the Veil. We solve it. Okay. Number 1, non-negotiables. Okay. My favorite number is 3. 3 is the magic number. Y'all remember that on Schoolhouse Rock? 3 is the magic number. Write down, when you're getting your vision together with you and your fiance, sit down and say, these are our top 3 must-haves. Okay. Now you may have 25 must-haves, but I'm going to ask you, shave it down to what absolutely has to happen on that day. These are non-negotiables. Okay. When you know what your non-negotiables are, you know what your priorities are, decisions become easier to make. Okay. So you don't be stressing out. Okay. So write down your 3 must-haves, and then, think about things that, these would be nice to have, but I don't really have to have them, right? And everything else is flexible. Okay. So three must haves, three, you know, nice to haves, and then everything else is flexible. I just talked about this. Set wedding work hours. This is when we're working on our wedding. Whether that's you and your girls, that's with you and your family, or you and your spouse. No planning after 9 p.m. Shut it down. Okay, shut it down. 9 p.m. Okay, late night decisions equal emotional spending, and I have brides that will text me 3 o'clock in the morning. It's cool. You can text me, but I'm not open 24 hours. So my office hours are from this to this, right? From 9 to 5. But you can if you have an inspiration or you have an epiphany at 3 o'clock in the morning, go ahead, write it down, put it in your little notebook, and we'll talk about it. But I'm not answering the phone or text at 3 o'clock in the morning. Not gonna do it, right? So I don't expect you, if you're DIY, have some of those times to where you just shut it down. And I've already talked about have date nights that y'all don't talk about the wedding. Y'all don't talk about planning, okay? Because it can get overwhelming. Number three, and this roll right into that, protect your engagement. This time is joyous. It should not be full of stress and anxiety and all of that, right? So you want to enjoy your engagement, okay? And doing those first two things that I'll talk about, wedding work hours and having some time to where we're not talking about the wedding, we're just spending time with each other, right? Again, weekly, at least one day that we don't talk about the wedding. Check in monthly, okay? I tell people all the time, wedding is one day. After the band stops playing, after the cake is cut, after the lights go out, wedding is for one day. The marriage is the mission. Okay, so you got to, during this time, you know, foster your relationship. Bolster your relationship. Let's see. Step 4. Let me see. How can I put this to you guys? So when we talk about the stress that you're going through, you want to make sure that because we talked about trying to please everyone, right? You want to make sure that you protect your peace, okay? And think about being transparent. Sometimes DIY costs you more, and maybe it's not finances, maybe it's peace of mind, maybe it's some rest. Okay, so when you're thinking about protecting your peace, you want to make sure that you have you create a space to where you are being able to reset. Okay, breathe, woosah. Even during those wedding work hours, you may get overwhelmed. Shut your laptop, take some breaths. What's actually urgent right now, right? Most things are not. Okay, 6 months out, you have a checklist of things that you should have done by this time and this time. But a lot of things are, is it going to be there tomorrow? You need to be able to reset. I call it the 60-second reset. That's going to help you quickly reset your whole demeanor. Okay. Shut your laptop down, go for a walk, go walk the dog, watch some mindless TV. Right? But have a way that you can quickly de-stress. Okay. Yes. Okay. Also, to create your budget piece, when we talk about dealing with vendors and being overwhelmed with vendors, again, don't get so obsessed with it that you're looking at every hour of the day. Okay. That's going to change. Look at those numbers weekly. Revisit your guest count. Okay. You may have started out with 300. Shave it down. A lot of people, say 80% may come right out of that 80%. But revisit that often. Okay. Ask before every expense. Does this support my priorities? Is it? Listen, you don't have your guests don't have to have favors, wedding favors. You don't have to have that. They're coming to celebrate you. They should be bringing you gifts, not you giving them gifts, right? They come to eat, drink, dance, and be merry and have a party. They don't need no wedding favors. I see a lot of those things being left behind, the bubbles and the all the stuff, the wedding programs, the menus, all that stuff's left behind. That's money that you could put in your honey fund, your honeymoon fund. Okay. So ask yourself the question, does this support what we're trying to do? And avoid last minute upgrades. Okay. Avoid this last minute, oh, you know what? I do need a caterer now, right? And you're 2 months out from the wedding. They're going to charge you a fee if they're even available, right? So again, those 3 must-haves, and go back to that, and those 3 things that are non-negotiable. Okay, so avoid last-minute upgrades. I'm panicking. Oh my gosh, I need to get this. That could be your number one budget killer when you're emotional and you feel like you need this. Okay, all right. The overwhelm filter. This is how you can filter the overwhelm. Okay. Does it impact the guest experience? Okay. Does it impact your marriage? And does it align with your top 3 priorities? If it doesn't, it does not deserve your stress. It does not deserve your overwhelm. Okay. So in the checklist, you're going to go through there and you're going to do a self-assessment check. If you are already planning or you're getting ready to plan, this is really going to help you. It's going to check your confidence level and your budget. Do you feel supported? Okay. Are you clear about what you want? Right? If you're all over the place, bouncing over bouncing off of the walls, your people around you are going to be confused, and then you're going to feel unsupported. Right? So you got to be clear about what your priorities are. And it's going to ask you, do you feel more excited at this moment or are you more stressed? Okay. And this is where your strategy is needed. Okay. You don't have to figure this out alone. Okay. If you're confused about vendor decisions, unsure about how to break down the budget, feeling overwhelmed, right? Second guessing your choices, right? Comparing it to someone else's. Okay. It may be time for some structure, some guidance. Okay. A bridal strategy session. I offer those, and those are complimentary. If you're planning and you kind of, don't have any structure, hit me up. I can help you. I can give you a bridal strategy session that's going to help you clarify what your numbers are, create a realistic timeline, and avoid unnecessary spending. And it's also going to help you regain your peace, right? And so I do those complimentary when you reach out to me. Now the bridal guide and checklist is available to you as well. Okay. Stressed brides overspend. Okay. Confident brides make strategic decisions and they regain their peace. All right. So your wedding does not have to be perfect to be beautiful. So your guests are not going to be measuring your centerpieces and see if they all match, and the flowers. They're going to remember how they felt. They're going to remember the love that's in the room, the energy. Okay. Not whether your napkins were ivory or champagne. Don't nobody care. Right. So breathe, refocus, protect your joy. Listen, you've got this. All right. So as you are planning, think about, how to plan without losing your mind, losing your joy, or busting your budget. Okay. I want you to walk down the aisle excited, not exhausted. Okay. And in our bridal session, strategy sessions, okay, um, hit me up, right? It's a 90-minute strategy session. We're going to break down your numbers, identify any unnecessary spending, really get you a clear planning roadmap. That session is going to help you remove confusion, protect your peace. Now, I like to do those with um, both of the bride and groom present, if possible, right? Listen, I'm not here to sell you any more decor. I'm here to help you start your marriage financially and emotionally strong. So, the link to book will be in the comments in this live. I'm only doing a limited sessions per month. Um, can't do 100 of these, but if you book within 48 hours of seeing this, you will get some more incentives that are going to help you along the way. Okay. Again, we want you to be excited, not exhausted. Okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to feel like you. And you deserve to enjoy this season, not just to survive it. Okay. So smile, woosah, and I'll see you behind the veil. God bless. Ken! Mhm. 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 Mhm.